Hello again, Dr. Martin Kettlehut. I am very happy to be responding today to some letters that were sent back based on the last newsletter went out, asking about how to actually practice the difference between thinking and behaving from your soul versus thinking and behaving from the ideas in your head, the ideas that came from other people or from the newspaper or from your pastor or from your grade school teacher, but way back when. How do you actually practice knowing, like, where are these thoughts that I'm having, where are these behaviors actually coming from right now, my mind or my soul? So here are the three things that I offer up. They're amazingly powerful practices to help you in this. The first one's really simple. It's practice pausing between each activity. So you finish writing a letter and you actually stop and you just take a moment to observe what that feels like inside, how you got to where you got to, what's the next place you want to go to. Just take a moment then to sit in the quiet between the activities before just moving on. Normally what we're doing is not only moving directly to the next activity, but we've got 3 or 4 activities going on at the same time. So really the pausing is designed to have you stop and realign yourself with your soul, to get out of your head, put down what was just completed, say amen to that, tie a ribbon around it, and send it off. And then turn your attention to how you want to be approaching and connected to the next activity. So pausing between activities. The second thing I want to offer you is I would call disciplined focus. So let's say you're writing that letter and you notice that the dogs are barking next door and the kids are teasing the dogs and the dogs are knocking over tin cans and all kinds of disruption. But remember, you're writing a letter. So disciplined focus is being able to just say, oh yes, I recognize that's going on outside. But right now I'm writing this letter and I'm going to say focused in a disciplined way on what I'm doing and not what else is going on or could be going on or would be going on. Just going to stay right here, focused on my letter writing. Disciplined focus, and you can use this in everything that you're doing. When you're doing that thing, do only that thing. And you'll find that you have much more productivity this way, and that the effectiveness of what you're doing is highly increased. Okay, the third thing that I want to offer you today is about allowing your mind, when you're doing the activity, let's say it's writing a letter again, that you allow the mind to rest where the real work is being done. So it's not really, there's no real work in the sense of Newtonian mechanics going on in your mind. There's no work going on around you. It actually, where the real work is being done is as the pen moves across the page. That's where there's friction, and that's the only real work in the proper sense that's being done. And so if you just let your mind rest right there, oh yes, feeling the paper under the ball of the pen and how it moves across. Some inks are smear more and some are drier, and some paper is thicker and rougher and the others is smoother and shinier. Just let your mind rest right there and let everything else go. You will then be producing what you're producing from your heart, from your soul, and you will be just paying attention to where the actual work is being done, and that it's not being done in your head, so the stress disappears. Okay, so you take any example that you want. Let me just run through another one besides writing a letter. Let's say that you are driving your car. Okay, so if you practice disciplined focus, well, first you pause before you take off in the car. You just take a moment to say, okay, how am I going to drive today? Where's my attention going to be at? And you get yourself settled. Then you start the car and you begin your trip. Disciplined focus would have you paying attention to the road and not to other things. I suggest turning off the radio. It can be very distracting, actually. If you want to listen to the radio, great, but this just complicates life. Practice allowing yourself to be focused on one thing at a time. Okay, so then the third piece, letting the mind rest. Now, where's the actual work being done? Well, it's right there where the tire meets the road. You know the saying, where the rubber meets the road? That's where the real work is being done. The tire is pulling the car down the street. So let your mind rest there. And you realize that there's nothing else, there's no other work that you need to do. There's no stress that needs to go into driving, no hard thinking. And you could just be the most pleasant driver on the highway because your mind is resting where the real work's getting done. Okay. Those are 3 very valuable practices for you to be in your heart, in your soul, as opposed to up in your head. Where things, that's where the stress comes from. I guarantee it. Okay, so you're going to fall out of these practices. I suggest you set yourself a reminder. A reminder might look like having your watch go off. You know how you can set your watch to beep every 15 minutes? How about every 15 minutes you get a reminder from yourself to pause, to focus your mind, and to let it rest where the real work is being done. Or your phone. Most people use phone for alarms these days. Another thing you can do as a reminder is wear your ring on a different finger, or wear a bracelet that you haven't worn in a long time, or switch it to the other. Do something that's going to be a little bit off. Some people used to wear a rubber band around their wrist as a reminder, and because you're not used to it, every time that you notice it, it will take you back into the present. A really good other last practice I'll give you for a reminder is to have a buddy who's also interested in doing this, who's also interested in pausing between activities, focusing the mind in a disciplined way on what you're doing, and letting it rest where the real work is being done rather than on your thoughts about it. And that way you can check in with each other. Your buddy can say, hey, it looks like your mind is wandering there and I see the stress on your face. Oh yes, back to the present moment. Or you could call each other if you're not in the same place. Hey, just checking in. How's your pausing going? How's your disciplined focus? Are you letting your mind rest? So accountability. Now, that brings up the last thing I want to say to you, which is that you want to pass this very short, very useful video on to your friends so that you're supporting each other in these practices, and also so that we're making peace on earth. Like, the more we spread these kind of things around, it's our duty, the way I feel, it's our sacred duty to pass this information on so that others can also experience this and practice with us and support us, so the whole world gets more beautiful. You can also let them know, well, they'll hear this now. I'm always very glad to give a free consultation, 1 hour just devoted to you and wherever you might be struggling or planning a great project. Give me a call at 747-4449. That's the 303 area code, 747-4449, or write me at Martin, Martin, at listeningisthekey.com. Listeningisthekey.com.